Join me in episode 20 for a maple syrup adventure.
Hey, is Dave there?
Well, this is the start of the great maple syrup adventure. I walked in and I was hoping to be a little less snow, quite frankly, but if we look at a few things around here, you can see how much snow is around the cabin. If we look by the door, you can see big drift. Up by the old shed, super big drift. But obviously the snow roof does its job. It kicks most of the snow off. There's a little bit right there. That will come off in the next few days. It's supposed to rain in the next couple of days, then get cold and get warm. So you can see we have it all shuttered up. I'm going to try and get into the place, get the fire going because it's going to be cold, bring in a few things, and then try and start up the sled and pack some trails. So first things first, we made it to the gate and we made it to the cottage. And if we look at the snow, there's still a lot of it, but you can actually walk on top of it. I'm going to get out snowshoes. I'm going to try and get the sled going and pack some trails. Well, I had to dig my way in. You can see that snow is probably shoulder high there. It's not weed shoulder high. It's snowdrift shoulder high. But that's coming off the roof here, so it comes off that snow roof. So I think I'm in. Well, one of the stressful parts of coming to the cottage in the spring is walking in and out used to be to the old camp, but now it's to the gate. And with my elderly father, I don't want him walking on this snow. I was worried about getting the oldest snowmobile ever started, and away it ran again. I can't believe how many years this thing just starts and keeps going. So I got to get it dug out and get it parked, but I'm going to pack a trail and pull the stuff from the car. I am feeling good about this start, even with all the snow that we have.
Packing a trail is important because my old guy is coming out to help me, my dad, and he needs a good, stable, packed trail to get into the cottage. It was a relief to get in and just get some of the equipment going. I knew it was a big snow year, so I was a little worried. The cottage has been shut down since the fall, and there's always the concern of some unexpected situation that puts a damper on your fun right away. This photo shows the amount of snow that was piled off of the shed roof. And it was, of course, sliding off the shed roof and accumulating there, but it is 4 or 5 feet of snow. And it did raise the concern of a maple syrup run or a sap run that would be 1 or 2 weeks delayed.
So check this out. Even in the mornings when there's no water on the lake, there's still a light fog, which is a beautiful morning. Grandpa's putting in the first spile of the season. Don't hit your thumb. A 7/16 drill is the key. Putting it on the sunny side of the tree in the morning. And a gentle tap. Okay. Nice.
Jumping to a video of just drilling the first bucket doesn't really tell the story of all the prep work that goes into getting ready for a maple syrup boil. There's bucket washing, you have to drill and tap a bunch of trees, and of course, doing a test run on the evaporator is always a good idea. I'm getting ready to tap some trees, and from the overhead shot you can see that the forest behind our cabin is primarily deciduous trees. Not all of them are maples, but many of them are, and they have around them what my dad refers to as that pot. That pot is where the snow melts first around the tree, and that tells us that the sap is getting ready to run.
There's no magic to tapping a tree, but there are a few pointers that my dad relayed to me. And one is you drill up on a bit of an angle. You want it to, this is called a spile. You want it to run down the spile. There's a little hole in the end. I can show that later. A little spot to hang the bucket and put the lid on. So you start by drilling into the sapwood. I'm doing about an inch and a half. And if you're lucky, it'll start flowing right away. This one's already dripping like crazy. Maybe I'll take a picture of that. That means the run's on. It's leaking quite badly there, which is, or goodly, I suppose. It's starting to kick out sap. So then you just snug this in. You can see it splashing already, which is terrific. It means the run is on. And my dad always said more than a drip a second, you've got definitely a good run. So this is a good tree. And then we put the lid on. And the reason the lid goes on, sorry, this one's fighting me a bit. The reason the lid goes on is you want to keep the rain out. Rain is just more water to evaporate at the end. The sap is something like 3% sugar. That's music to your ears when you're trying to make maple syrup. That nice steady drip. We're gonna try and drill about 10 trees here, maybe more. I'll see how I do. It's always important that you can get at them, so I need to be able to run the snow machine around the loop here. But these are nice trees, 14 inches. South-facing side for the bucket, always important. You want to get that warmth and sun on that piece, and that helps the sap flow. So that's all there is to tapping.
In the end, I decided to put up about 100 buckets. It might have been a little bit more than that to get a good volume of sap so that when some of my relatives came up, we had lots to boil. Stuart's helping me here put up about 25 buckets.
Everything's always a bit of a struggle. There's a lot of snow here. Grandpa's having a beer with me. Cheers. Grandpa. And look, we're doing a test drive with just water on the old redneck evaporator. So it's rolling now. We had to wash it out, get the snow dug out from around it. We'll have to do some leveling, but as you can see, it's, kind of a crude product, but it works well. So I'm back where we put our first 50 buckets. It's along a trail on a sunny knoll, and what's interesting is I wondered if the run had started. We got here last week of March and have been prepping for about 3 days, and this is the first, I would say, warm day. It's about 4 or 5 degrees out, and I'm going to turn the camera on one sec. You can see buckets all through here, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear drip, 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 drip in all the different buckets, which is kind of a cool sound, right? I'll stay quiet here for a couple seconds to see if you can hear it. The wind might be getting in the way. But anyway, we got 50 buckets up. I have another 50 I can put in place, and I'm going to pick some bigger trees. These are all close to the evaporator, which makes them handy, and it gets a nice afternoon sun, which is critical. What we're looking for is a nice tree well. We want the temperature to fluctuate between minuses and pluses. Minuses is night, and obviously a warm afternoon. And then if we look inside, we want a steady dripping like that. And then you'll see in this bucket, there's a couple inches in, and that's what we put in on yesterday afternoon. So if we get these things really moving today, you might have half a bucket by the end of the day. Let's have a look at another one here. Yeah, so it's a slower drip, but it's dripping. And if we look in the bottom, there's an inch or two. So it's just starting to run, I would say.
During the first week, I had 1 or 2 days where it ran fairly well, and I decided to do some collection. You can see for collection, it's important to have the sleigh and the old snowmobile to collect the sap, what we do is we pre-filter it into large containers, and then we store it in a 220 liter barrel or so. And during the first collection, I got around 200 liters. So I thought maybe I would try an initial boil and try out everything before I got company.
Does a good Hillbilly maple syrup pan look like? Well, it looks like this. I haven't put the chimney on yet, but it'll go on top of that back fitting. There's just a loose blocker here. It's built with, check this out, looks like old patio steps that were turned on end. There's fire brick in there, so it does hold the heat in the fire. You can see it's hitting the bottom pan. I'm just getting started this morning. And when you look into it, it's a great big steel pan with a couple of spigots on the side and a whole lot of baling wire or other heavy wire holding it all together. So it is a one pan operation. We boil it down to within a degree of the right temperature, and then we finish on a propane cooking bucket. There's one thing I should probably highlight. The thing about doing a sap boil is it's a slow process when you do it the hard way. The new modern pans have a 3-stage or a 2-stage system that basically you put sap in one end, you get syrup out the other side, just keep rolling through. We're not that. This is as basic as it gets, but the good news is you get to sit and enjoy a coffee and keep the fire warm and make sure the sap is moving at a continuous rate through the bucket once we get boiling. So it's very relaxing. I'm going to turn on music here and just go with it. A progress report for the first boil, and what we'll see here is we're getting good evaporation. It's quite cold out today, so it's making it a little harder. You can see the flames past the door there, so you're getting good continuous heat on the pan. And then what we see is this auto feed. This is something my dad designed so that we could step away and not worry about the pan too much. If you ever burn sap in a pan, it's basically game over. You can't recover them. We've done it once, but you've got to get awfully lucky to salvage it, because almost always it ruins the pan.
Here's a nice close-up of the auto feed system. It's just a spigot that's been welded into a steel bucket, and we just turn the spigot to the right feed rate so we don't lose the boil.
So this auto feeder, what it does is it just keeps the sap flowing in, but allows the pan, you can't see much in here, but trust me, it's boiling. So you want to keep it boiling, and you want to keep sap continuously going in. We have put all of these buckets in except for the two on my right here. So that means we've got at least, they're all 20 liter buckets, that's 80. I started with 60 and I've got two more. So we're getting up to kind of when these two get done, about 180 liters, and then we've got more stored over there. So we're going to try and get 250 liters in the pan today, and this is how you do it without standing by and just pouring buckets in and killing the boil. You have to have some kind of steady feed, and this is our redneck solution to do that. How do you know your evaporator is working? Well, look at the steam rip off the corner of this. Once we get it boiling, it'll even be more intense. You won't even be able to see the fluid level in there, and you have to kind of peer in to make sure. Obviously, you don't want to run it dry or it'll burn the pan. An update. We've gotten all of the 250 liters into the pan. So the last of it is going through the upper can and into the pan. Everything's boiling. We've kept the boil on all day. It's about 4 o'clock, and we're going to see how long it takes to reduce the sap to something that is close to finish. And close to finish is about 212 degrees. It's all about getting the water out of the mixture. So you're boiling off water the whole time. And the key is to get to the right temperature. The right temperature for us, after calibrating the thermometer, is about 213.5 degrees. The thermometer boils water at 206, you add 7.5, you get 213.5. We're going to bring this boil to about 212, or if the pan starts to peak through, which means you're burning some of the sap, then we'll shut it down, we'll shovel snow on it, and we'll drain it off, and then do the finish tomorrow. The finish is where you actually crank it up and try and hit that temperature, 213, 213.5. My cousin came by and we put up this tent. It's very helpful. When you get a little bit of rain, it completely messes with your ability to boil off. The humidity, because it's high when it's raining, obviously, and the rain itself going in the pan slow everything down dramatically.
So there you have it. That's how you prepare and collect the sap and get it down to the final boiling stage. We'll share that with you in the next video, along with some great clips of all the other boils and collections that we did. Dave's not home, man.